Yes. Back again. Back again, my friends. Coffee Break with JN is back again. And I feel bad that I haven't seen you in so long, but parting is such sweet sorrow. And if you didn't get any JN today, there's always tomorrow. Or hello, well, hello. It's so super D. It's so good to see you do that again. You know what? The opening flourish doesn't get enough attention when I do this because I don't know if you can see it. You see? Can you see that? You see that digital smoke rising up from my coffee cup? That's me smelling the aromas like a cartoon character getting traveled along by the smell by his nose piece like that. Ah, yes. Welcome back. I see. We're going to jump right into it, you guys, because we got a lot to talk about. Yo, what up, Ronaldo? All right, let's get down to brass tacks. First, we have to say, you ready for it? Whoa, whoa. And welcome back to Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. You know what happens here. Beyond all your dreams coming true, there's certain tenets that uh, always apply to Coffee Break. You get to watch me, cartoonist in good standing, Jamar Nicholas, drink a cup of coffee and run his mouth. And when I'm out of said coffee, tell him what to do, chat. Video over. Let's clear the screen of assets. I know at this point in time, I mean, man, what are we doing? If you haven't joined my Patreon by now, like I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, what are we even doing? What are we even talking about? Yes, the come hither wafting, the wafting. Do you feel it, McLeod? It's the wafting. Ronaldo says you should float off the ground like Pepe Le Pew. La row row. That's right. You know what it is. Um, Before we get too deep into a pause, I have to do a roll call because, guys, I feel like I've been away. I think we did. Did we do a coffee break 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. I know I've missed two pencil to pencils because of my travel. Right? Tell him, Dollar Bill. Not a Patronus. What you even doing, bruh? Bruh, what is you even doing right now? What even is life? That's for the butterflies right there. What even is life? There can only be one. There can only be one John. Do you feel it? The cloud is the Jordaning. That's right. Sign up. All right, let's do a roll call, you guys. I'm excited. You're excited. I see Tio Michael in the building. What up, Uncle Mike? Good to see you, my man. 50 grand pots and pans. I see Joseph. Hello. Time for the talk of the town. Dear John. Dear John. Once you read this letter, I'll be gone. Yes, Ronaldo. I need a red card to hold up. What up, Ronaldo? That's not a red card, it's a green card. That's not what I meant. Kaylee, well, hello, Kaylee. I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, hello. Again, sunglasses in a heartbeat. D Fish, what up, D Fish? How are you, D Fish? Mortal Kombat. I need a little graphic when I start doing coffee break that slides off to the side and goes toasty. Yo, when Mortal Kombat came out, I was a camp counselor, and we had summer camp, and these little kids were so funny, man. I would take roll call in the morning. I forget the kid. Let's just say it was Billy. We're like, Frankie here, Jeanette here, Keisha here, Billy, Toasty! And all the kids fell out because if you were, what was that, Mortal Kombat 2? Was that 3? I can't remember. And like one of the developers would slide off into the side of the screen and say, Toasty! Chris Eliopoulos checking in. Hello, Chris. How are you, sir? Chris, it always warms my heart that you show up for Coffee Break with Jay, and that means that you understand how special our time together is. I love it. I'm skipping around. I'm missing people. I said, D Fish, what up, D Fish? I see Cream, get the money, dollar dollar bill, y'all. What up, Bill O'Donnell? Good to see you, my man. Yo, it may be August. Last month it was July, but it's always July in our hearts when July. Julian Lytle's in the building. What up, July? Haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Yo, I see Super D. D Parson in the chat. What up, Super D? You know what it is. It's a whole new world. We're looking at the young superstars of cartooning in this chat room. Like we tell you on Pencil to Pencil, is lousy with cartoonists. That's no bunk. That's no bull. Right? Already shouted out Chris Eliopoulos, Super D's in the chat, D Fish is in the chat. All types of I was trying to say something like factor, but uh, tastemakers are in the chat. Robot roll call. Maybe we'll start. Give me my points because I started that as I took at the Rubens, and I'm gonna talk about the Rubens, but I'm not gonna talk too much about the Rubens because that's what I'm doing pencil to pencil on next week. I'm doing a presentation. I'm doing a recap, but I took a picture betwixt D Parson and D Fish, and I said double D, and then I felt weird, and then I felt weird after I said that, but it is, yeah, right, yeah, okay. Let's keep it real. Hello, D Fish. How are you? Did I miss anybody? Sean Chai, how are you, Sean Chai? Where did your thing go? Did I have a good time? Hold on, it's not coming up. Yes, I had a very good time. I will talk about it, so I'm not going to keep y'all. Come on, Ronaldo, no sandwich jokes. Who told you guys about that? I take this NCS very serious. No sandwich jokes. If you did not know, the Reuben Award is named after famous cartoonist slash inventor Rube Goldberg, who was one of the early presidents of the National Cartoonist Society. So that's where the Reuben comes from. Hey, I'm a kids author. I got to be careful. Yep, that's what it's named after. And also, Rube never created any devices. He just drew them. So what was the thing? Rube Goldberg was famous for making fantastically complicated devices that do simple things. And all through the cartoons, you've seen the Rube Goldberg device. Even in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he makes his toast and bread. That's a Rube Goldberg device. Come on, it's part of pop culture. It's right in front of y'all. You weren't even thinking about it. So that is what the prestigious Reuben Award, which is given to the best cartoonist of the year. It's a highly decorated honor. And it's funny that people have been talking about the Reubens like it just happened. We just celebrated 80 years of the NCS being a thing. Started in 1946 by some very famous newspaper and magazine illustrator and cartoonist back when they were doing USO tours to entertain the troops. And sometimes people say things like, newspaper strips. What are even are those? But you have to put it in the context that those newspaper strip dudes were like millionaires back then, right? And they were the tastemakers. They had all the license deals, all the rights deals. They had media deals back when TV was in black and white. Before there's TV, they had radio spots. You remember Dennis the Menace? Remember the TV show? Hey, Mr. Wilson, Blondie shorts. You know what I mean? Come on, what is this? What up, Angel? You know the answer to that, right? So yeah, Mousetrap is a Rube Goldberg device. Ronaldo says the Mousetrap game is the greatest Rube Goldberg device. Nobody actually played the game; they just built the device. D Fish says Wallace and Gromit cartoons are 96% Rube Goldberg devices by See, it is part of the fabric of pop culture. And also, he was a dope cartoonist. You should go check out his work. There's a couple of cool little like uh, video essays about him, and even at the conference that I was at for 5 days, um, Rube Goldberg's great granddaughter did a really fantastic speech about Rube and showed some really cool clips. So yes, know your history, y'all. So that's why, I said this a long time ago, as even if it doesn't sound like that, that I will never shill for the NCS, yet I'm very proud to be a member. And what I mean by the shilling stuff is that I'm never going to be like, you should join a I do that in very limited amounts if I see somebody that I feel like, yo, I think, yeah, I think you need this, then I might press. But for the most part, I get more questions about like, yo, what's in it for me? Yo, do I get like, what was it? GNS green stamps? Do I get like, I don't know, like a packet of McDonald Land free French fry coupons? Like, what do I get? You know what you get out of being an NCS? What you put into it, and that's real rap. And that was on display at the in Columbus, Ohio, over last weekend, where a lot of people that are in the chat were there. Guys in the chat, please sound off. Tell me about the Rubens. Tell me about your experience there. Chris, you won the sexiest cartoons alive. You know that. They're about to retire your number and put it in the rafters, buddy. D Fish says it blows my mind they did 28 Blondie movies. Yup. Right. And I also think that's kind of weird about just Americans. Is just like, cartooning and comics and comic books and comic strips and all this stuff is such a giant part of our culture. Yet people always raise their eyebrows about it at the same time. Like, oh shit, I remember that. Oh, I had all the Garfield books. Oh, I remember that. And then you go, oh, well, Jim Davis, you know, still if you get Super D is like the walking uh museum for Jim Davis stuff. Still, touches those strips every day, still works on it, but there's a bunch of other people that do the thing and they're like, for real? Yes, for real. Yo, I remember Andy Cap. Remember the pub fries? No, you remember the comic strip? So this stuff kind of, it goes more into maybe commodity and how people really value art. But don't get me started; it's early. Eye opening, yes. No frosty coupon. No, you don't get a frosty coupon book. July says, I always played the Mousetrap game. Setting up is the best part. They have a great Goldberg device in the new Coyote versus Acme movie. Yeah, see. Um, but also what I was saying about where I was going with that is, I saw Super D was getting a lot of love. I saw D Fish got a lot of love at the Rubin. And not to say ha- would that have happened if you weren't there? Who knows, right? But to think, D Fish, what if you didn't go? Super D, what if you didn't go? Like the pictures are still rolling out from last weekend. And I'm not trying to make it sound like a destination spot, but one last thing I'll say about this, unless more people start asking me about it, is I've been crowing about me being in this thing for a couple of years now, right? You watch this stuff, I always talk about it. I talk about being a chapter chair of Philly. I talk about that stuff all the time, and people are like, cool. And then these pictures come out with me in a tuxedo, next to like, whoever, and they're like, yo, what's that? What do you think it is? I've been telling you this for years. So there's something very weird. There's like this weird disconnect with people. It's like I am what I tell you I am, and then I go out to the world and I make stuff happen. Oh, yo, is that really Kathy Geiswhite? Yes. Yo, is that really? Yes. Anyway, it's kind of funny to me. It's just like, what do you think this is? Somebody save me. I'm about to start ranting. Ronaldo says, my grandpa hated Andy Capp because he was a drunk. I think it's funny because I'm a giant Andy Capp fan. I love Smythe. It's that strip was very British, but I loved his heavy outline. I loved his heavy hand. I loved his like really thick inking style. And I used to say all the time, it's like I don't really know if you could sell to the syndicate a strip about a guy like beating up his wife and then taking a nap on the couch after coming home from the pub. But you know what? The hood knows the snacks. Shout out to Pub Fries. Shout out to what is it? Cheddar Pub Fry. There's one of them they don't make. They don't make the plain ones anymore. So even think about that. Andy Cat Pub Fries, that's a license deal that's been going on longer than anybody even knows about. D Fish says, yes, they still make comic strips. Yo, they still do pro wrestling? Yes. It's wild how many folks don't know that. Yes. D also says, I would be drowning in sadness. Heidi and I were just gushing about everything over dinner again tonight. Yes. Chris says, sorry I missed it. It was my wife's birthday and I want to stay married. Well, totally understandable, Chris. Happy birthday to wifey. D says, it is the coolest thing we do every year, and it fuels my soul for weeks afterwards. Yes. And I think if you just consider being in presence of almost 300 people in in a space who are all professional cartoonists, these are your people, right? If you happen to be just that weird bad posture alien in your community that draws comics, and then you're like, what am I even doing? Why does everybody think I have like two foreheads when I come out to get my mail in the morning? And like, doesn't this guy have a job? Yeah, I'm work, whatever. And then you come to this thing and you're like, oh right, it's I'm not alone. It's not just me. There's all of these people, and everybody is a pro. It's life changing. I think it's life changing, and I always wanted to be an NCS. So yeah, yeah. Thank you, Bill. You and Jerry Kraft. You know Jerry Kraft, first base Jerry Kraft, second base Jerry Kraft, back Jerry Kraft, looking all dapper. Yes, thank you. Hot fries. There you go. Sunshine says, yeah, D-Fish, that's the thing, right? With newspapers going away, the dinosaurs, how do we let people know comic strips are still a thing? Just tell them. I mean, newspapers still exist. A lot of, I'm the wrong person to even talk about this. Super D, you tell them. Super D's the one with the syndicated comic strip. You tell them. Where's George Gant? You tell them. All you guys who are syndicated, you tell them. It's just how this stuff works. Super D says the Rubens is the only time I could say I got burgers with Caroline Cash, the new Nancy artist, and Mort Walker's family, and we all collectively cried about deadlines. I haven't met Caroline yet. I didn't even know she was there. That's another thing. There's so many people. You don't meet everybody. You don't talk to everybody. And also, what I love about the modern setup of being in this thing is you go, and then somebody always goes, "Oh, yo, was the guy who draws Fred Bassett, was he there?" I'm like, ugh. Everybody there is somebody. And if you go there just looking for like, I don't know, these old folks to make it feel like you're in a room with somebody, you're somebody. And I know imposter syndrome runs roughshod, especially when you're in the presence of all these people who you grew up reading their strips. Jim Davis gave a great keynote workshop, and it was incredible. And I'm sure some people who haven't met Jim yet, it's like, holy crap, that's the guy who created Garfield, and he's right there, and he's talking about whatever he's talking about. He's very affable, and he's very approachable, and he's a nice guy. And everybody's taking selfies with everybody else. It's fine. We all do the same stuff. But I can understand how that just would be like, holy crap, this is amazing. But also, right after you say holy crap, you turn around and somebody goes, "Oh, hey man, would you sign my sketchbook? Can you do a doodle in it?" Oh, of course. You're part of the fraternity. D says it's the only place I've ever been in where my imposter syndrome suit shuts up and my social anxiety ramps down. No group makes me feel more welcome in existence. Yeah, there's people I just, I didn't see. And, again, because of the positions I hold, um, some people are like, yo, man, what is that? I'm working besides, looking good as I always do, because, I have a 16 charisma with a +3 modifier. I had board duties, not you heard what I said. I had meetings. I had meetings on top of meetings. I had behind the scenes things. I had a chapter chair meeting. I had all these things going on, and then I got to get ready for the thing and make sure you guys get out of the lobby and go eat because the caterers are saying the food's getting cold. Look, you probably heard me yelling at people in the hallway, "Yo, let's go! It's lunch! Everybody go into this ballroom." Pause. Super D says, "Tell us about the adoring audience you spoke to at Ohio State." Did you see that, Super D? You tell them. Sean Shai says, "One of my favorite things is when you see people you look up to and who have inspired you fanning out about someone they've met. It's very humanizing. They're just like me moment." Yeah, yeah, it's true. Um, and also, like, if you're ever in that position and you're like, "Oh my God, I don't even know what to say," just go speak to them, right? They're just like, "Oh my God, that's so and so. I wish I have." Go speak to them, right? And I've gotten some I've gotten some very great moments from people, and I've also given that, right? And I don't know, it's this okay. This is I don't want to turn into this thing, but this is something that I've been saying since you guys. I've been kind of like giving people advices and talking about the business of being a cartoonist for a decade now, almost. Even if you think about for any of my lifers out there, you remember Comic Book Diner, my first podcast with John Gallagher and Rich Faber. We were talking about this stuff back then. Is that on top of drawing really cool cartoons and being funny and all of that kind of stuff, the other side of it is being affable, is being approachable, is knowing how to read the room, is how to go into some place and shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye and do business. We're past the part in our timeline when you could just hide in a room and draw your comics and be famous without ever taking a picture or having headshots. Pause. Or all that stuff. You have to be a fourth dimensional cartoonist nowadays. That means you have a media presence, you have social media, you have blogs, you gotta do interviews, all that kind of stuff just to keep the plate spinning. So in these places, and this is just me, I'll talk on it, is that you have to carry yourself like a pro. So that imposter syndrome, which we all have it in different waves and different forms, and you got to put that in your pocket because I know I can't go into a space and like fanboy on somebody because then my level could diminish in front of them because you can't take me seriously because I'm like, oh my god, you're my favorite. Oh, I thought this guy was like one of us. Oh no, he's fanboying. Well, it's nice meeting you, buddy. Take care. What? It's it, right? You're on the clock. Punch in, lock in. But I'll give you some grace at the NCS because everybody's happy to see each other. Everybody else. Sean Chai says, "Wait, I can't hide in my room and be a cartoonist. I have to meet people. Sorry, sorry. It's just how it is." D says, "Jamar's like the Flint of the NCS. You got a job to do." Yo, Joe. Yeah, I'll be Flint. Flint's my man. Be punching Cobra Commander through windows. Shout out to Flint. Um. So, but yeah, I mean that was great. I guess Super D's not going to tell the chat. Okay. So, also another cool part about this was, which kind of, and one of the things that I've been loving about this modern take of the NCS, and maybe Chris can talk to that, is I've felt, and so a lot of people feel this way, is that not necessarily that the society needs to change, but it also needs to reflect the modern landscape of cartooning. At one point, like I said, all of the Richie Riches in their golf carts in their Connecticut mansions, that was kind of it. But now Dave Pilkey is it. And there's no disrespect to the people that have come before or that are still here. We're all here, but let's look at where things are now. And again, I love that we can all come together in one space and we all do the same thing, and that's dope. But to think that traditional book publishing cartooning is different than comic strip cartooning, which is different than comic book cartoon. It's all cartooning. So I love where we are now, where you see all these different people in the room. There's web cartoonists, there's middle grade graphic novelists, there's magazine illustrators, there's variety guys. I mean, we're all here and it's fine. And I love that. Um, well, I'm just super D. I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm not going to put it all out there because I'm going to save it for pencil to pencil. And yeah, what up, Lucky Mari? Good to see you again. Approach people like someone who loves their work, not like they're gods and you were fine. It's a good advice, right? So what I'm getting at is that um, this thing is set up where it's not, we don't show up on one day and put on a suit and then somebody gets award and we all go home. This thing is turned into a multi-day event, which is really structured about professional development. So the conference part is a lot of meeting and greeting. There's workshops. There was a great panel on artificial intelligence. I think that was at last year. I can't remember. There was a great one with a bunch of lawyers who talked about protecting your work, which is right. This is all stuff we need to know about. The one of my favorite parts was the Toon Talk, which were a bunch of kind of TED Talks that Super D did a fantastic Toon Talk, a 15-minute presentation in front of the entire conference. And Super D, I think Super D got a lot of love for that. Um, and then on Friday night is when the award ceremony happens, where there are a lot of awards that are given. Some are kind of like board or upper management driven, like there's kind of like Hall of Fame things. Like there's a Lifetime Achievement Award. The Milton Caniff Award was granted to Jeff Smith, Columbus, Ohio native, which is very apropos that the 80th Reuben Awards was at Columbus, Ohio, at the Billy Ireland Museum. There's a lot of things that just lined up. And my publisher and editor, David Saylor from Scholastic, presented him that on stage. What a great moment. And Jeff is a great person. Met Jeff several times. I think there's pictures of Jeff and I and his wife V from there. They haven't appeared yet. So there's that. And then also there's divisional awards, like best comic strip, best short form web comic, dot dot dot. You get it. And then the big end of the night one is cartoonist of the year. So for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, there were a bunch of middle grade graphic novelists up for it. So Dave Pilkey was nominated. Raina Telgemeier was nominated. Uh, Along with two people from my chapter were nominated. Tahid Bandia again, Dana Simpson, Will Henry. It was a lot of excitement because like this window had opened and everybody was really excited, and it almost felt like Scholastic kind of like invaded the NCA, the Reuben Awards. So with that, on Saturday there was a public-facing cartoonist showcase where across the street from the Billy Ireland and on campus, the Mershon Auditorium was this gigantic, beautiful building and venue hosted some of your favorite graphic novelists doing a great presentation on the stage for the children. So it was, and I showed you guys this a couple of weeks ago when I was telling you about it. This shouldn't be new, right? I've been talking about this. So you remember this? You remember this? This was what I was talking about. So Dave Pilkey, myself, Jim Benton, Maria Scrivan, and Raina Telgemeier took to the stage and did our own Toon Talks. We all had 15 minutes where we drew and talked about growing up and wanting to be a cartoonist. And I believe they may have sold close to 1,200 tickets for that. So after that was over, we get kind of split up. Dave stays on the stage, and every person in that auditorium got a chance to meet him and get a picture with Dave and get him to sign something. And then Jim, Maria, and myself went into the lobby where there are other NCS cartoonists who were tabling, and we did a signing. There was a local bookseller that handled book sales, so I had, oh man, I should have added that one. There was a queue line of people like back around the corner just coming up. I was signing, taking pictures. And Raina had her own space. They shuttled her off to the bookstore where she had a line going down the thing. It's crazy. And what's also cool is that everybody, I believe that was tabling, said, I've never sold out of books like that before. That was incredible. It was incredible. And somebody said, I'm just riding off of the off of the coattails of Dave and Raina. Wild, right? So, and and your boy's in the middle of that. I'm not chopped liver, right? So I held my own. I held it down, and that's a giant part of it. That's where I am these days. This is me getting. This is me coming on stage. What a beautiful venue! If you haven't been to OSU to see the Billy Ireland Museum yet, put that on your itinerary for your next vacation. I hope that was interesting to y'all, but I'll talk more about it. But it was dope. So let me see what the chat's saying. Super D says, "What I loved about the Rubens is that this has been a legitimate collective of cartooning. Everyone is respected and heard, and you see perspectives you wouldn't have once considered." Yeah. Paul Pate, what up, Paul Pate? What up? Also, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, D. I was so nervous about it, but people were telling me the presentation was talked about as much as Jim's keynote speech and made me feel good. Yeah, man, you gave a lot of really great information. Um, So Paul Pate says he couldn't make it. Where's it next year? It'll be in San Diego, California. We're heading back to San Diego. So this is going to be probably like a whole different energy from this one. This one was like a lot of pressure. It was the 80th. It was a big thing. Oh, I forgot. I did TV. If you live out in that way, out Columbus, Ohio, you probably saw me on Good Morning Columbus Thursday morning, where Maria Scrivana and myself took a Uber over to the Billy. They had to get somebody to unlock the doors. It was that early, and I did live television with Cam on the go or whatever this cat's name was. He was a great guy about trying to sell some tickets, y'all, like pro wrestling. I'm trying to get some butts in the seats and just win it, knocked it out, no flubs. And I want to think that my years of the Jamar Nicholas Network, JNN programming has made me camera ready. What do you guys think? D Fish says the sales were really solid over in the Billy as well. A great one day event. Yes. Yes. Thank you. And so that part was kind of like shaped by the NCS, but really the Billy Ireland and CXC cartoonist crosswords Columbus and Scholastic put all that together. Oh, you'll get there. Yo, what up, James? Good to see you, bro. Always sharp. So no, that was dope. And yeah, San Diego sounds great. And I'm also very honored that I am part of this system. And also, it's cool that you get an inside look because of your closeness to me. Thank you, Bill. News package is layup territory. That's my light work, and it's kind of funny. People were like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, I mean, and this isn't like fingernail painting emoji, like flexing. It's just I get nervous about a lot of stuff. That stuff I don't like. I get even to be honest, like getting ready for this thing, the Scholastic thing. This was great because I missed I missed all the Saturday programming because I was being handled. And I'll explain that. I've probably told you guys this before. So, when I'm on like the clock with Scholastic, I'm usually being handled. What I mean by that is that the team is making sure I need to be where I'm at when I need to be there. So there's publicists, there's like handlers, there's assistants, there's Dave Pilkey, his publicist was there, and his lovely wife who was there, who kind of manages him. There's a one part where we get Black Card over to the thing. We go through the tunnels, like the rock star entrance to the back of this venue, and we don't go outside. Like, I could probably go. It doesn't matter. I could go go get a sandwich and nobody would care. But Dave Pilkey can't walk out into something because they mob him. You understand what I'm saying? And we were back there in the room, and we all kind of chilled and kind of got ready. We had to do sound check. I got mic'd up, and they're like, "Just stay here." Somebody brought me a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we're doing. And it sounds really, and I've talked about this a million times. It's very cool. I'm never going to say it's not cool. It's very cool, but also at the same time, I am working. Remember, I'm working. Right. So it's not just like somebody just hands you some cool shit and you don't have to do anything for it. The doing something for it is I have to go perform. And I have to go out there and knock the socks off of 1,000 kids and their parents in the audience. Right. So that's where I meet that. So and you don't want to be a diva or make somebody's life difficult. This Jamar, uh, Carl be out at 11, be out in the lobby at 11. Yes, ma'am. And I'm out there at 11. You see what you see what I'm getting at? Like you gotta do your part. It's not just all cool shit. It's not all just red M&Ms in a thing. So I hope if you guys get anything out of me doing these talks and giving you this behind the scenes stuff or going, holy shit, JN, you're on the poster with these people. That's the other side of it. Got me monologuing. Bill says one-on-one interview versus a classroom of kiddos. I take the one-on-one interview every time. Bill says also folks do not realize how insanely draining it is to be in performer mode or presentation mode. Yeah, so even with that, like I'm sitting backstage and I'm just kind of like, because I turned in a PowerPoint like a week or two ago to the people at Scholastic, 'cause, like, this is what's going to be on the thing, and I had some ideas in my head that I didn't get to, or just kind of read the room, like you read the temperature of the room, like the things you're saying, or the families laughing, or are they connecting with you, or are they just waiting to see Dave? You know what I mean? Like you kind of suss that out on your feet. And then, you kind of do like live editing, you know? Yeah, Bill knows, just like Comic Cons. I've done it for trade shows. I hate it with a passion, but I do it. Well, you guys got quiet. See, this is what it's supposed to be about. This is me sharing. This is the other facet of JN, the JN you know and love. And it's dope, right? It is dope. It's so dope. And I'm really excited that I get to do things on such a high stage. And it ain't easy. So here's a couple of rules of the road for tonight. I thought, and Ronaldo, can you back me up on this? I said to Ronaldo, yo, can you write these things down? Because I'm going to forget. I had a couple of things I want to talk about tonight, but we're kind of running out of time. I do not see the Waringos, so that cuts out Sue's pose. And I wanted to talk about. I keep telling you guys about this guy, Jason Pargin, and Jason Pargin is a writer, and kind of going to what I'm talking about. And I've been telling you about him. He's the author of this John Dies at the End series that's been out forever. There was a movie back in the late '90s. I never saw it. He's kind of new to me that I'm just kind of finding out about him. And this guy has, I think it's Chris. Chris says that's the point. People love hearing the behind the scenes stuff and how it's part of the gig now. It really is, Chris. You know that. I don't have to tell you. And the words that come from my mouth are like silk on a gossamer wing. It is gospel. It is true. I speak truth to fact. Oh, hi, Emily. I've been corrected. They are called PowerPoint slide decks now. All right. Thank you, Emily. How are you, Emily? I haven't seen you in a minute. How's your year going? Missed you at the Rubens, as you were at the Rubens last year, right? Hope all is well. Um, Great PowerPoints come with great responsibility. Thanks, Lucky Mari. Appreciate that. Okay, so this is cool. I want to get this in. Pause. So Jason Parker just had a new thing, and he does these like Facebook reels or shorts where you see him like in the corner, like pointing behind him at whatever he's com- com- composited onto the screen. And he's like, hey, is it just me, or there's a bunch of things from our pop culture or our just culture as being Americans that the media has kind of faked you into thinking is real? It's kind of what his question was, like the dunce cap, those old school images of like a kid who's like on in punishment or something, he got in trouble at school and he's in the corner wearing a long coned hat. And he was like, has anybody ever worn a dunce cap, or was that just invented for show? Like, is that an optics thing? Another thing was that we've all learned this from the movies. Like, if somebody in a movie or TV show goes out to dinner and they can't afford their meal, the next scene they're in the kitchen washing dishes. Is that real? Was that ever true? That if you couldn't afford to pay for your meal, you wash dishes? It's in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, just like the Rube Goldberg machine. Also, another what he did was after a murder, that the police make a chalk outline on the sidewalk. That's not true either. Nobody does that. So I want to talk about that. Is that can anybody confirm that, or like how do we get into this thing? Oh, how do we get into this thing where we just kind of believe something is real because the media told us it was real? Dun dun dun. Also, this is some old like Great Depression shit. Even like when you were broke or you lost everything, you wore a barrel with suspenders. How about the aluminum trash can? When you open it, there's like a a comically large fish bone inside the trash can. Shout out to Heathcliff. Talking about, I don't know how we got on this, but talking about PowerPoints, as I haven't been in corporate in a long time, so I will learn from you guys. Yeah, they call them slide decks because so many folks started using the Google, Apple, and other programs that are PowerPoint. Thank you, July. I miss you bringing that good. I got corrected very recently at work. Emily, yes, the word dunce in the cone-shaped hat originated from the 13th century Scottish theologian John Duns Scotus. All right, Emily, you're about to get a sip of. Originally, his brilliant followers were pointy hats as a symbol of high intelligence. So then why was it flipped that you're stupid when you have the dunce cap on? All right, guys, we haven't done any of these, but I gotta give it to you, Emily. Sip of coffee for Emily. Bring in some lore to coffee break. Pinkies up. That was a good one. I never heard any of that stuff before. Thank you for that. That was cool. We're smoking now. Bill says, hot take, the more content you throw into a PowerPoint slide, how are we talking about PowerPoints? The more content you throw into a PowerPoint slide, the less folks will remember it. Less truly is more. I'm the worst at doing slide decks. I throw a picture up. I don't do transitions or animations or any of that stuff. I'm just like bang, 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 bang. Lucky Mari says, "Oh God, this reminds me when I had to explain TV and sentence as an elder Gen Z to a 7-year-old." No, no, no. So you were like the picture was fuzzy. So you move the what? That's great. You mean to tell me when I need to run or I'm scared I don't turn into an outline of smoke? Pew! That's also an Andy Cat. When he'd be fist fighting his wife, there would be like the Popeye cloud with the fist and the feet hanging out of it. Yo, shout out to Milk Crate. Chris says, I missed the second day of college in New York. I heard someone was murdered outside the school that day. Came in, there was a chalk outline there. Okay, that's real, huh? Okay. Yeah, Emily brought it. That's how slide decks are supposed to be. Yeah, remember Prezi? Remember that? That was like a big thing that happened. Was it right before the pandemic or right after? That was kind of like these slide decks, but there's lots of like animations. Like just imagine there's a globe and you click a button and then the thing goes in into Iowa, and then there's like people, and then it goes over there. It was kind of like 80 is like ADD television for PowerPoint presentations. Shout out to Prezi. Um, so yeah, so I guess that's it. Well, we did the chalk outline, Emily. But hold on, can somebody tell me why dunce turned into a bad thing? Because this guy sounded like a smarty pants. That's interesting. And I was also going to go on a rail about hobos. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But also, especially this is like really Great Depression stuff. And also, if you look at a lot of really old high society humor, like the Marx Brothers shorts, there's a lot of high society. It was like the have versus have nots. That's a concept, right? Where, the Marx Brothers were always kind of like running afoul of some aristocrat or some rich fat people in tuxedos. And then even the image of the hobo, and I'm not thinking of like it'll be like an down on his luck aristocrat with an old tuxedo with the like the thing that would flip up, or or he had like a the 5 o'clock shadow, and like his top hat was busted out. Then there's their barrel with the suspenders. All right, I guess we're talking about PowerPoints. It was cartoonist's fault, the dunce cap. Okay, I want to look into that. Lucky Mari says, for real, PowerPoint should be 20% words or less 80% visuals, or anchor slash compliments to the presenter's yapping. Wait, does it count as a comic? Ah, we might have to do some metrics on that. Oh, so Emily says it was cartoonist's fault, the dunce cap drawings. Interesting. Huh. Side note, James says, when I worked in China, everyone called PowerPoint docs PPTs. Wow, that's wild. But this is also something funny. When I was kind of wrapping up working at the college, this is very Gen Z, where they would get together and have PowerPoint parties, and everybody would do like presentations on their like PTSD, or like, how they really, really love the Jonas Brothers or whatever. And that's kind of how they entertain themselves. What a world. I guess that's from going to school and you have to make PowerPoints all the time. And that just turns into your language of communication. That's that's wild to me. And I watched them one time in the art office. They had a little PowerPoint party and they just was like, okay, I'm next. And they would get up, everybody would clap. And then they would go through their slides, just talk about like getting dumped in high school. I was just fascinated by it. Sean Chai says, well, that happened with a lot of, oh, we're talking about words. Well, that happened with a lot of words over time. Don't I know it? Words that were complimentary started being used sarcastically and then eventually came to only mean something negative, like woke. It's a perfect example. Like how bugs turn referring to someone as a Nimrod from meaning great hunter to great idiot. Haha. What a maroon. All right, I forgot the collar pops out. Or the tuxedo. Bing. Emily's asking me tech questions. Which program? This is StreamYard. Ask me now, I'll get you a discount. Yeah, Mort Walker's Lexicon of Kamakana had a bunch of those old stereotype cartoons. Julian says, oh, millennials do that too, the PowerPoint parties. Wow, yeah, that's so funny. And they're serious about it too. They do a lot of prep for that. That's crazy. So one thing I was going to get into this thing about hobos, and I guess we ran out of time for that tonight, was it was kind of like if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, like old school D&D, like rogues have their own language, thieves can't. Kind of like the idea that, which is probably real in some cases, that if you go into a town and there's like symbols and shit on the wall, that's probably from the local thieves guild, kind of marking things like that's where marks come from. Yo, that's a mark right there. You walk by the guy and put a chalk thing on his back, so you get him later. There were rules for hobos, and I want to read this real quick. I don't know if I can do this. I kind of copied and pasted this. Let me see if I can present. And no disrespect to hobos. Let me see if you can see that. That's super small. So, but okay, so I've copied and pasted this from something. These are rules of engagement for hobos. The bendel stiff. That's another cartoon element. You know, the stick with the polka dot handkerchief on it. The Bindle stiff were a real and significant aspect of hobo culture, and hobo culture was a real thing, especially from the 1880s until World War II. I stole this. Here are your tenets as a hobo. One, decide your own life. Don't let another person run or rule you. Two, when in town, always respect the local law and officials and try to be a gentleman at all times. Three, don't take advantage of someone who is in a vulnerable situation, locals or other hobos. Four, always try to find work, even if temporary, and always seek out jobs nobody wants. By doing so, you not only help a business along, but ensure employment should return to that town again. Five, I'm reading all of these, you gotta suffer. When no employment is available, make your own work by using your added talents as crafts. Six, do not allow yourself to become a stupid drunk and set a bad example for locals' treatment of other hobos. This is cool. Seven, when jungling, a term that meant camping. When jungling in town, respect handouts and do not wear them out. Another hobo will be coming along who will need them as badly, if not worse than you. I'm gonna just double check with the chat so I'm not offending anybody. Hold on. Yeah, Lucky Mario. Hobo's Paladin Code, yes. New D&D character just dropped. Yo, I want to see your hobo bard wizard build. Eight, always respect nature. Do not leave garbage where you are jungling. Nine, and if in a community jungle, always pitch in and help. You sound like salt of the earth types. 10, try to stay clean and boil up wherever possible. Boil up, chat. 11, when traveling, ride your train respectfully. Take no personal chances. Cause no problems with operating crew or host railroad. Act like an extra crew member. 12, do not cause problems in a train yard. Another hobo will be coming along who will need passage through that yard. 13, set a D&D build. Hobo cleric. Do not allow other hobos to molest children. Word up. Expose all of them to authorities. They are the worst garbage to infest any society. Yo, tell them. Hobo rules. Help all runaway children and try to induce them to return home. This is very noble. I'm feeling these guys. 15, help your fellow hobos whenever needed. You may need their help again. 16, if present at a hobo court. If present at a hobo court and you have testimony, give it. Whether for or against the accused, your voice counts. There's hobo court. What are we even talking about? Thank you for that. Hobo code. Oath of the chili guy. Oh, the chill. Wait, wow, this is crazy. The hobo bro. Yo, I want to build that dude in Baldur's Gate. Yo, this is hot. So Bill says, so wait, is hobo bread a thing or is that a Trader Joe's thing? It might be real, like hoe cakes, because you know hoes got to eat too. Yes, the hobo stick was real. It was very real, James. Lucky Mario says, bindles are something I saw leave larger culture. I think homelessness is not a joke. Good change. And that's my hobo thing was no disrespect to the unhoused. I just thought that what was very also interesting about this time is that there was a culture inside everything, right? And you carried yourself with decorum, right? So yeah, this is really interesting. And yeah, I'm sorry I'm going backwards into the chat, but yeah, the bindle is real. It's real. What'd you guys think of that? That was interesting, right? Gave you something to think about. Right? It's just and again, if you watch some of those old shorts, like and everybody sounded like W.C. Fields. And all of the in these old TV shows and these old movies, the hobos were very dignified, which people seem to find humorous, because it was a down on his luck aristocrat, who lost all his money or whatever. He was like a oil baron or something, and now he's broke. But he carries himself with dignity. He even has his little champagne glass that he carries around and has a hick little like you know cartoon expressions with the ruddy nose. But tells you about the rules of the road and about finance. They just kind of had a bad break. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really interesting. Let's do some all right. Let's do some hobo homework on our way out of here. Well, guys, I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I have like a corner of coffee left. There's not. There could be worse things. Um, so usually I spend the last part of my thing talking about what's coming up next for me. But I just wanted to share a couple more pictures from ALA. I'm sorry, from the Rubens guys. I've been running hot for months. You guys know it. For all my Patronuses, you know. For you, caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines. Who watch this every 2 weeks. You know what I've been up to. Um, and I wanted to show this really cool picture. So, like I said, beyond like kind of going back to the NCS thing, beyond all these other things, I didn't just buy a ticket and just go to the thing. I'm working. I'm on the board of directors. That's the whole thing. I'm also the chapter chair of Philly. You guys all know this. And what's really cool is that the regional council meeting is held on at the Rubens as well. So when the chapter chairs get together, look at all these people. These are all like famous cartoonists who are also pillars of their cartooning community. You see a guy who's levitating a hat. You know Wayno, artist of the Bizarro strip. I had Wayno on Pencil to Pencil a long time ago. Right next to me is Brian Walker of the famed Walker family behind Beetle Bailey. He also writes High and Lois. It's cool, right? So yeah, we had that, and then I'll share this pic from right after the Rubens were over, and they were trying to shuttle Dave Pilkey out of there. His publicist was like, "Come on, let's go. You got to go 5 minutes." Like, no, he's got to take these pictures. So this is a bunch of the graphic novelists that I hang out with. On the left is one and only Raina Telgemeier, and then the lovely Maria Scrivan, myself, Terry Liebenson, Invisible, Emmy, and all those great books. And, my homeboy Jerry Kraft, and also the iconic Dave Pilkey. Just having some fun for you guys, y'all. There was a paparazzi moment. There's some other really nice photos of us all posing, but it was like, how cool to be part of that. How cool, right? So yeah, there'll be more of this to come at Pencil to Pencil when I do a full recap. But just wanted to show you that your boy had a busy week, busy month. No, no, I only get one mug. I can't do two, but there's no refills on coffee break with JM. Yeah, word up. Chris also says they also use symbols to tell others where to find a free doctor. Yeah, like the hobo symbols or a place that gave free food. There would be symbols hitting all over town. Yup. It's such an interesting thing. It really is. And I'm sure some of that stuff exists just in different ways now. Like I'm sure there's little marks and things and symbols that aren't for you that other people can read. It's almost like graffiti in a way that if you're like a graffiti guy, what stuff says, and other people are like, I don't even know. It's not even. It's just scribble. It's never scribble. Tell him, James. Hobo logo. But I also know that this was a millennial thing. You remember, like in the early aughts, where people were doing hobo chic and hobo weddings. Remember that? That was a moment where people were like, "Yo, we're gonna have a hobo wedding and we're gonna have a jug band." and everybody will dress up in suspenders with no shirts, and we'll stomp around a campfire. I'm like, okay. I'm glad that era is over. So, oh, all right, let me finish my thing here. I'm almost there. You guys, give me 1 second. You remember that? Lucky Mari remembers that. You don't remember that? That happened. You can go look on your old live journal. It happened. That was a thing. Hobo chic was real. Hobo destination weddings were real. We're going to get married in a field, and there's a jug band. And I think, guys, don't quote me on this, but I think that remember that Mumford and Sons, that like super hipster shit. I think that was right after the hobo era. Somewhat fact checkers can get me on that, but I think it all kind of lined up. Super D says, "Do you have the picture of all of you holding giant pencils?" Uh, uh, maybe. Hold on, let me try and do this real quick. I'm trying to get out of here, Super D, but I don't know if I do. I mean, I know I have it on my phone, but I don't know if I have it. No, 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 I don't see it. Oh, I'll show you this one though. You'll like this. So speaking of Jerry Craft, this isn't from my presentation, but this is from another picture that we took. I think this was earlier in the weekend. This was at the eight. There was kind of like a happy hour meet and greet, and there was also an '80s theme. And looks like I'm the only one that. So I was on my Run DMC joint, and yeah. So check this out. There's some royalty. There's some black excellence on your screen. You see JN rocking the '80s Run DMC fit. Then also you see my man Jerry Craft, and also uh, cartooning royalty Barbara Brandon Croft, who is the cartoonist behind the Where I'm Coming From strips. If you don't know who Barbara is, you've probably seen the thing that's like that comic strip with all the black ladies, and you just see their faces in their hands. It's very gestural. And then also you see Stephen Bentley, the cartoons behind Herb and Jamal, one of my favorite comic strips. And I met Stephen for the first time there, and man, and also there's another one, Super D, with you in it. Okay, sorry. Yo, I'm all the melanin you need right here. You don't need to look further. It's right in front of you. So yes, and there's more of that. So I want to leave something left for next week. So I'm not going to give it all to you now. I'm not going to going to give it to you. I want to leave some for pencil to pencil. So you're going to have to tune in there, and I'll give you more of that good. So, guys, all right, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Cuban rolls. What are you talking about? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Coffee Break with JN, where all your dreams come true. Well, that's Ashley's stream. And I hope if you like what you saw here, if you enjoyed my 16 charisma with +3 modifier. See, we even rolled up a character. We rolled up a new build. We got the hobo rogue coming to a table near you. Support me, why don't you? Why don't you head on over to my Patreon? Get on the bus, Gus. Get ready, get on for the big win. I'll make it easy for you. I'll put this QR code on the screen. You can just boop it with your phone. Like you're just a boop away from supporting me and my studio. Uh, but you know, Coffee Break will always be free and always be here for you and me. So guys, let's say those words. Let's say goodnight, John boy. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna try to get some sleep tonight. I hope you enjoy that. Thank you to all my friends that came out to the Rubens. I hope you had a life changing, life affirming weekend. I know people are still tired from that. Oh, I saw in the chat, Emily said, "What's next?" I will be at Chappaqua Book Festival in Chappaqua, New York. Uh, and Sleep Well Legends. I like that. Yes, thank you. And I'll be at New York Comic Con, but that's up the road. And I'll have some other things coming up. I'll be at Lakeside Comic Con in September. Wow, there's a lot going on. Maybe I'll be at the Baltimore Book Festival in September. I got a lot. I got a lot to do. But yeah, more to come. Thanks, Emily. It's great seeing you. Thanks, Lucky Mari, for hanging out. It's good to see you. Thanks, James. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. And thank you to you, caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines. Friends and regulars, not decaf. Coffee Break with JN. Let's go home. Guys, you've been watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. I am but a vessel for your cartooning entertainment. And I hope you leave here knowing a little bit more than where you started. And that's the magic of friendship. That's the magic of group. So what happened here tonight? You got to hang out with me. Oh, I got to do it. Guys, I go by many names. I have many names. I have many hats. I have many hats. And Bill, I've been traveling, buddy. I just got more been traveling to do. And then next year, Leon and the Big Problem comes out. I'll be on tour for that. That's what we do. We do that. Wow, James. Shout out, shout out to sleep. So, guys, I wear many hats. I have many names. John 316 said, "I just did that John again." See you later, Chris. Thanks for hanging out. I also go on by John Cena. Also, the administrator of the facility, Captain Scholastic, and also the captain of the ship, Jean-Luc Picard. There are 4 cakes. That's right, the administrator of this facility. Thanks, guys. So, what happened here? Melatonin. I like that. You got to hang out with JN, watch me drink a cup of coffee, run my mouth. Now that I'm out of coffee, somebody wake up Hicks. There it is. Somebody wake up Hicks. See you in 2 weeks.